conventions and like perform it as like a sketch, like a 30-minute sketch in cosplay, in Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay. I think that would be great. And it would just be like different Broadway hits. Like, and my favorite one would be when Tristan is on the boat, like, on the way to Duelist Kingdom, he sings "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow." It's in the race. I think that would be pretty fun. But I guess I've kind of been so used to doing the voices for so long, sometimes it's easier than others to sing. I don't think Duke would be a good singer. Apparently Yuki isn't a good rapper. Very white. Or at least I'm very white. Anybody else have any questions? Right over here with the, yes?
Hand?
With the hand, yes.
When you abridge something, how does your writing process work?
Oh, how does my writing process work when I abridge something? I watch the episode, and then I try and stop myself from watching it, and I try and remember all, like, from rewatching it, I try and remember all, like, the main plot points that stand out in my head, and I just do them in I put them in bullet points on a WordPad file or something, and then I try and bridge those gaps together just with, like, abbreviated versions of what happened, like, in between, with dialogue, and then I try and I look at it and I think, how do I make this short script funny? And that's the difficult part, obviously. But it's also the most rewarding part. And I really do love writing. I want to be a writer more than anything in the world. What was that? Was somebody like, oh, he wants to be a writer, what? But I really want to be a writer more than anything in the world. I like acting, I like editing, but writing is the most rewarding part of the process for me. So getting to just sit there with a script and just hammer it out and think, what would the character say in this situation, and what would this character say in reaction to that character? And a lot of the time it kind of writes itself just because the characters themselves are funny, you know, inherently. Like Marek and Bakura are just fun to play off of each other with, so to speak. It's a really fun but unfortunately long process that I'm never happy with. Ultimately, I'm never happy with any of my scripts, but then I release them and I'm like, people are gonna hate it, people are gonna hate it, and then they don't. So it's nice. But that's the main process of the writing for me. Yes, right now.
So I noticed things like in the episode where they go to Duelist Kingdom, Joey trying to get on the boat and they let him on because he was hair is crazy.
That's right, yes.
Was that a deliberate, like, reference to the fact that you gets in the starship? Like, you do that sometimes with plot points, you do like
a stupid version of what actually happened.
Yeah.
That's what I do with most of my stuff. I do the stupid version of what actually exists. And really, I don't think Yugi, my version of Yugi, would actually give up his starships. I turned Yugi into kind of an asshole. I don't know if you know. Kind of a selfish jerk. I went to the screening of the Bonds Beyond Time movie in New York, and that's a whole story unto itself. I actually got detained by security because they thought I was a terrorist before I went to see that movie. Because they didn't believe that I would travel hundreds, thousands of miles to go see the Yu-Gi-Oh movie. And I had to explain to them that I was this guy that makes fun of Yu-Gi-Oh, and people know me for that, and they're just sort of like, really? I think it's the beard that kind of ticked them off, really. But and then I went to the screening of the movie, and the most awkward part of it was when all the logos are coming up for the different companies that worked on it, and the 4Kids logo appears, and the entire audience goes, boo! And I'm just sort of sat there in my seat going, But the part that reminded me of that was, as soon as Yugi showed up, and they're like, because they do the flashbacks still, like, this is this character, and this is what they did, and as soon as they showed Yugi, somebody behind me yelled, asshole! I was like, what have I done? I love Yugi. I actually tried to keep myself quiet throughout that whole movie, but the audience would not. The audience was speaking for me, essentially. It was very interesting. But yeah, I do try and tend to do like a dumb spin on what actually exists. Like Yugi wouldn't, my version of Yugi steals cards from Joey's deck, and then doesn't give him the starships, and then he just basically uses Joey for his own advantage. I think honestly, Joey's probably a better duelist than Yugi in the abridged version, but Yugi just tells him all the wrong things. We traded him wrong on purpose, as a joke. you've got an ass, I'll kick it. Yes, right there. Yes.
What's your favorite character from like the show before you started doing this?
My favorite character from Yu-Gi-Oh? I talked at length about this yesterday, but my favorite character from Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely Yugi, which is unfortunate considering what the guy said about him in the cinema. But honestly, the reason I love Yugi so much, and I'll say it for the rest of my life, he always does the right thing, and he's always there for his friends. And I wish I could say the same. You know, it's one of those things that I really aspire to be like that guy. And he, 10 times out of 10, he does the right thing, and I do it like maybe 4 or 5 times out of 10. But I did get to feel like I was Yugi one time because you guys know Team 4-Star, right?
Yeah.
We went to a Canadian convention in 2010, and my friend Kurboh brought the Yu-Gi-Oh manga with him, and we were going to read from the manga in character voices, but it wasn't just me doing all the voices, it was all of Team 4-Star, so essentially you got to see Team 4-Star do Yu-Gi-Oh, which was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I was, who was I? I forget who I actually played, but Kurboh was Yugi, Lani was Kaiba, Scott Takaizeneko, the director of Team 4-Star's Dragon Ball Z Bridge, played Joey. And the scene we did was the scene in the manga during the Death Tea tournament, for those of you who've read the manga, where Tristan, they all think Tristan dies, and it's the scene where Yugi breaks down and Joey basically tells him, because Yugi feels like he's hurting his friends just by them knowing him, and Joey basically turns to him and says, Yugi, you know, we used to be terrible people and lonely people, and we met you and you changed our lives for the better, and now we are better than we've ever been. And while Scott was reading these lines, he starts crying. And I'm like, after the fact, when we go to have a party, I'm like, Scott, why were you crying when you were reading that? It's Yu-Gi-Oh, you know? And he goes, because when I was reading it, I realized I was talking about you. And I started crying. And so we all had a group hug, and it was very emotional. And so for once in my life, I actually realized that I'd kind of been Yugi in a way, because getting to know those guys apparently made them better people. So it was a really sweet moment.
Yes.
Vash the Stampede.
So what was your initial reaction to all of the popularity that you acquired?
What was my initial reaction to popularity? I hid. I would do this every time I would upload a video because I was convinced that the next episode I made was going to be the one where everyone was like, okay, this sucks. Why is he still doing this? Why is he bothering? This is ridiculous. It's a show about a card game, for God's sake. Move on with your life. And I would upload the episode and I'd turn the computer off and I would not go online for like 2 days. And then I'd come back and I'd see, 500,000 hits, so many likes, and it was ridiculous. And I kept believing that at one point people were going to turn on me. And my paranoia was kind of fed into because of one episode that I released, I think it was 8 or 9, somebody sent me a YouTube message, and this was back when I had the time to read all my YouTube messages. And I read the message, and what it said was, this episode wasn't as good as all the others. Please make better episodes. And I said, oh no! Oh no! What am I gonna do? And so I really took that to heart. And I kept expecting the next one to be the one where everyone decided, yeah, this is over, this is done. And I always, whenever I come to conventions, I expect people to not care anymore. And even though I still cared just as much as I did when I first started it. And people keep coming and they keep telling me how much the show means to them and how much it changed their lives and how much it changed my life, honestly. And seeing so many people show up and show support and laugh and clap and everything, it's just, I don't know what I was so afraid of. It's really crazy. I mean, it has changed my life for the better. It really has. And but there was a long period in my life where I was terrified that it was going to turn into something really ugly. But yeah, that was the initial reaction to popularity. I didn't know what was happening. Somebody from this side. Yes, right.
What was your least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh arc?
What was my least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh arc? I'm not a huge fan of the, and it gets I get a lot of flack for saying that I didn't like season 4 very much, because it's all over the place, and there's really no real coherent storyline to it. It's just, now this character's doing this, and now this happened, and then Yugi goes away, and it's very tragic, and Yami's crying a lot, and now they're on a train, you know? And it's really, there's, like on Duelist Kingdom I like because it's like, we have a specific task we have to achieve, we're on an island, here's all these colourful characters, and we're dueling them, and now we're at Pegasus Castle because this is what the motivation was the whole time. In the season 4, it's all over the place, I don't know what's happening half the time. Oh, yeah, you mean it's filler? That's what you meant, okay. I mean, I don't dislike it because it's filler though, I actually really like the Noah arc. And not a lot of people do, but I like seeing the Kaiba backstory. They actually did a good job of telling a story with that. I felt like, you know, it was silly and it was over the top, but it felt like an actual story. I didn't really feel that way with season 4. It just felt like a lot of drama that made no sense. So that's probably my least favorite. Atlantis was involved for some reason. Where did that come from? It was very strange. I mean, there's some cool parts to it, and then they kind of treated my Valentine's character wrong, I think, because she ends that story being like, I won't come back until I can prove myself to you guys, when she already had this story arc in season 1, and she didn't decide that. She decided that she, you know, as long as she played to have fun, that was what was important. It's like, well, what happened? You know, and I could just rant about that for a long time, but it was, and a lot of people like that season just because of the drama with Yugi and Yami, and that's cool. If they did a whole season about that, that'd be one thing, but it's all over the place. It really is. Right here, with the green.
I just wanted to say you remind me of the Babe.
What babe? What babe? What babe? What babe? No, seriously, what babe? Was that it? That was pretty sweet. Yes, right here.
Thank you for Naruto.
You're welcome.
And where did Zabuza come from?
What do you mean?
Where did the character come from?
I mean, he's just Lanny doing an impression of Steve Bloom, really. That's really all he's doing. I don't really know that much. I'll be honest, when I write the Naruto abridged, my process for writing is very different than my Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged process. I watch the episode, and the truth is, I've seen all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Many times. I know that thing back and forth. I don't know what the hell is going on in Naruto. The amount that I've abridged is how much I've seen. So what happens in the next episode is a complete mystery to me. So I go into it completely blind, and then I'm just like, okay, he's doing this now, okay, I'm farting, you know? So that's basically like, I don't know what I did. I mean, Haku is basically me making fun of Scott, the guy who plays him, because he is kind of a weeaboo and he speaks fake Japanese all the time, so I'm like, he should totally speak weeaboo. And Naruto is the only one who can understand him. So that was the impetus for that character, but Zabuza is basically just a creepy guy with a giant sword, and that's kind of who he is in the show, I guess. But yeah, no huge creative inspiration there, unfortunately. Yes, with the yellow shirt. When I got my account removed on YouTube, did I ever think about ending it? I assume by ending it you don't mean my life. Because I've been asked some pretty dark questions in the past. I did think about the fact that the show might have to end if because when the first video was taken down, I was like, oh, okay, that's it, I guess. There's no real way to re-upload the episode, so I guess that's not happening anymore. But then some of my friends were very helpful and they set up a website. And as far as I can tell, because I've uploaded the episodes to the website obviously, but as far as I can tell, no human being has ever specifically taken down my videos. A lot of people always ask, you know, well, why do 4Kids keep taking down your videos? They don't actually know anything about that. And the one email correspondence that I'm allowed to talk about with them is the one that they sent me after apparently a huge campaign online was sent to send them emails saying stop taking LittleKuriboh's videos down, and they emailed me saying, please tell everybody we're not doing this. And so I was like, okay, 4 kids. Yeah, as far as I can tell, it's just copyright bots on YouTube that see the footage and think that it's an episode. So they're like, take this video down because it's not supposed to be on YouTube. But they don't actually watch the video. No human being is like, take this box and then take it down. Because when I resubmit the channel for counter notification on the copyright, it goes back up within 2 weeks. So whoever is looking at this stuff just isn't paying any attention, or they don't actually want it to stay down. So it's a very awkward situation to be in as a creator and as a fan, unfortunately. But I have to work with what is available. So yes, with the creeper thing on your head.
How do you get around?
Everybody turns around. Oh, take the house.
How do you get around a lot of YouTube's major copyright laws about that type of stuff?
How do I get around it? I mean, like I said, when the copyright claims are made, the video goes down and it says, you have a copyright claim on this video. Would you like to would you like to counter the copyright claim? I click on the thing, I fill out the form. Within 2 weeks, it says the video has been reinstated. And if the channel has been taken down within that time, the channel goes back up. Because as long as you don't have a strike on your account, you're fine. And so every time that happens, even when my channel gets taken down, it always eventually goes back up. It's been happening for 2 years now, every other month or so. So I kind of want to do a contest to decide how long it's going to take for the next time the channel goes down. The winner will receive, like, I don't know, a t-shirt or something. It'll be pretty funny. But yeah, that's the only process I know of, and it's the one they have in place on the website. It's very flawed, unfortunately. It's a very flawed system, and I wish they would make it so you can actually talk to a human being about it, but unfortunately they don't really want to have human beings involved in the process. Yes, right there.
Do you have a least favorite Zelda game other than the CDI ones?
My boy. Do I have a least favorite Zelda game? I love Spirit Tracks. I actually really like it. He's so cute in that little outfit when he's on the train. I'm sorry. And I like Wind Waker a lot. That's my second favorite Zelda. For me, it's Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, then Ocarina. That's my top 3.
I love Wind Waker!
Hell yeah! I'm so excited for the Wii U version. Have you guys seen that? If only you had a Wii U.
My friends have a Wii U, but they're like, you can't use it. So
I don't have a Wii U either, but I'm going to buy one for that Wind Waker game, seriously. Least favorite Zelda game? I don't know. The Adventures of Link, the second one? That was pretty difficult, but I didn't play enough of it to really say it was my least favorite. I don't know. They're all great. They're all good. I would consider all of them good games, but least favorite, jeez. I honestly don't know. The crossbow training thing was kind of lame for the Wii. I don't want to say a bad thing about Zelda because it's all great. Does the cartoon count?
Excuse me.
Excuse me, princess. What's Tristan? Why was it Tristan? I should have bridged the cartoon. I wanted to do an in-character abridged series one time. I obviously did the One Piece thing with the Naruto speed, where where is the One Piece? But I wanted to do one where Marek and Bakura do an abridged Death Note.
Oh gosh.
Marek is like, I will voice all of the characters except the ugly demon thing, and you could be that guy, Bakura. And the women. All 2 of them. But yeah, that never really came to be, but maybe one day. Yeah, that's my least favorite Zelda game, the cartoon, I guess. Anyone toward the back have a question? No? Okay. Well, wait, with the fez.
What's your favorite god card?
My favorite god card? The Roa. Some people always bring the Roa from the Naruto card game to me to sign, and I was like, this is my favorite god card. But from all 3 of them, I mean, you have a pretty fantastic slider. You should bring that slider up to the front of the stage and show everybody your slider. Seriously. Ooh. It's pretty fantastic. You should model this thing. Slifer, the executive plushie producer. That's pretty awesome. Everybody, a round of applause for that. Fantastic. But I I like the Winged Dragon of Ra, mostly because it's Marek's, and it has that big long chant that he has to say to actually make it work. Wing, no, what is it?
Great beast of the sky, hear my cry. Transform thyself from orb of light to give me strength within this fight. What is the rest? I forget.